four changes this week, probably the first time this season there's been a significant number of changes. What's prompted that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we're only 4 or 5 on the win-loss ratio, but most of our games we've been in there and with a chance, and you look at it from a systematic point of view and things have been okay, and a handful of boys at times haven't been going so well with their direct involvements in the game, and we persisted with them and their output over a number of weeks. And yeah, it's just probably time to break the circuit and give them a chance to get their form back. And there's a number of boys who have been banging the door down in recent weeks to come up. We need to give them an opportunity, and so those 4 changes, were no-brainers in the end as far as our philosophy goes of rewarding good form at VFL level.
And one of those was Patrick Lipinski, who's been in quite good form in the VFL all season, really. Played 17 games last year. What's he had to do to get back in the side?
Yeah, well, Paddy's mostly been a winger forward for us since he's come to the club, and there are a few things that Pat's been working on, and this whole start to the VFL season he's played as an inside mid for Footscray, and we've been wrapped with his progress there and how he's blossoming. So we'll give him an opportunity as an inside mid at AFL level. We're sure he'll do pretty well with the alternative and the option for him to play out in the wing. He's a good runner, Paddy, and he deserves his chance. And yeah, he's probably been the most consistent out of all those boys, but he has taken on some new responsibilities and a new role and tried to really work his contested side of the game, and he's coming on in those areas. So we expect him to have a good game for us.
Tim English also back. I mean, is he 100% fit to go? Or does he still have to, I guess, tick a few boxes before lining up tomorrow?
Yeah, he's right to go. He unfortunately had a pretty significant bleed after that corky, and it compromised him a little bit. He had some soreness around his knee and the front of the thigh, and the knock wasn't on those spots. So it's taken him a couple of weeks to really settle down and get the treatments in there, and he's fine. So he'll play, and yeah, it's a bit of a shame we lost him a couple of weeks ago, but look forward to having him back in the ruck.
And you've named Matt Suckling, but he was sort of carrying a bit of a calf Achilles, it seemed, at the end of that Cats game. Is he sort of fully fit going into this one?
Yeah, he trained extremely well yesterday and expelled any doubts that we may have had that he might not be available. So he's fit. I saw him this morning, and he's pulled up fine after our session yesterday, and he'll take up his spot in the team.
You spoke post-game about the defensive aspects particularly. Has that been the main focus this week?
Yeah, we were going pretty well defensively until the Geelong game, and I was alluding to the fact that they scored too easily, and we had reasonable pressure around the ball most of the night, but we did get beaten one-on-one a lot, and we're usually a pretty good team at helping each other in the air, and so that was probably the most concerning part of it. And sometimes it's hard when it's kicked to the advantage of a forward. It's really difficult to just pull that off and spoil it and bring it to ground. And our defenders had a difficult night, there's no doubt. I mean, they've been pretty solid, and so we've made some adjustments there. And the height factor is something that we talk about week to week, but we've got a solid representation down there this week, and we expect our mids to be quite productive and prolific in there, and make sure the pressure's on, and our forwards will fall into line with that as well.
And speaking of height, Ben Brown's one that's been a concern in recent games against you guys. What do you do to combat him?
Yeah, well, he's a concern for most teams in that his highest point stuff is pretty good, and he gets up the ground, and he covers a lot of ground as well. And so we'll need help at times, to whoever might be standing him at any point in time. We'll need assistance in the air. We'll endeavour to do that. But ultimately, your main challenge is always to limit that supply, isn't it? So we hope to get our hands on the ball and starve them a little bit, and make sure we create those avenues to goal.
At times this year, you've probably lost the games we've expected you to win in terms of Carlton, Gold Coast. This is another one where you probably do start favourite. I mean, how do you ensure you get a competitive and the right performance against a team you probably favourite against?
Yeah, I mean, we don't focus too much on that aspect. I mean, the season's evolved in an interesting fashion, and we're still looking at the Gold Coast of years gone by rather than the Gold Coast of now. The way they're playing has been extremely competitive, and they've been a challenge for most teams. And we got Carlton on a day when they were pretty stocked with their personnel, and they've lost a number of players in recent times, and it's been difficult for them. I mean, probably their best player the day we played him was Liam Jones, who blanketed Naughty that day. So unfortunately for them, they've lost some key players, but everyone's still looking at them as if they're the same team. So that can impact those teams. But as far as North Melbourne goes, we're looking at their 2 wins. They beat Adelaide. Yes, they beat Carlton. And you look at those games and who was influential for them, and that's in our thinking with our strategies and who we need to negate and how we can bring out our strengths. So we won't underestimate them, that's for sure. And they've probably started to get going over the last month, and we've got to ensure that we don't fuel that.
Recent history against North has been really tight, Turling. The last 6 games under 3 goals. Can you put your finger on sort of why?
Well, I mean, North have always been a more mature and physically bigger side than us, and we've found a way to beat them at different times, and they've got us here and there. They've always been pretty dour, contested games, and they've historically played a bit of a longer kicking down the line. They've played a lot of tools against us. They've changed. They're a different side at the moment, the way they're moving the ball, the way they're defending. So we're expecting to face a pretty different North Melbourne outfit, and obviously you depending on who your personnel is, you will evolve, and there's no doubt that the way they're using the footy, maybe taking on a bit more risk through the middle, and even the make-up, especially in their defence, and some of the change there. Yeah, it's going to be a different game, I think, compared to the ones that we played them historically. So whether you'll see that sort of lower score line and closer score remains to be seen, but we're expecting them to play a little bit differently than what we've seen in the past.